What was it like to be the American guys in a James Bond film?
Well, absolutely not, because I'm actually British.
I love this film. I was thrilled by this film. I was surprised by this film. And you finally got to see it at the premiere with an audience. What was that experience like?
It's great to after all we've been through. We've shot this film more than 2 years ago, I think.
Yeah.
So it's just like that it's finally coming out, it's such a relief.
Yeah.
And very happy. It deserved a beautiful premiere. And
Yes.
we gave everything, we gave everything for this film. And what's even better is that I feel that the audience is responding
Yes.
very well.
Yes. I mean, you were doing press for this last year. You've already done press for it. Yeah.
It's crazy.
So thank you for coming back to do more of the press. What was it like when you learned that you were going to get to do one more, that they wanted you to come back and to bring your character back and to have this finale? How did you respond?
I was so happy. I mean, I was so happy first to come back, but also with the role, the character, and she's so unconventional.
Yes.
Madeleine, she's really not the typical Bond girl, and she's just it was a very interesting character to play. It's a Bond film with a lot of action, amazing locations and everything, but there is like a little je ne sais quoi.
Yeah.
There is there is like it has like this heartbeat, it's vibrant.
Yes. The fact that you guys are such great comedic actors as well leads me into my first question. We've heard that even with a big movie like this, sometimes it can get stressful, but there were jokes that were cracked, the giggles inevitably happened. What was the funniest thing that happened while you guys were filming your scenes together and filming with Daniel?
I just remember shooting in that club scene, and it was like 130 degrees in that place. And all of us were like, kind of like slowly dying from dehydration. But funny, I don't know. I remember just cracking jokes with you guys at that table. It was like the best part. We were just like throwing out one-liner jokes in between takes.
And drinking non-alcoholic
Heineken.
Yeah.
I'm such a fan of you guys and a fan of these movies. I'm so happy, Jeffrey, that you're back as Felix. What was it like to be the American guys in a James Bond film? I mean, did you feel like any kind of pressure to be the American guys there?
Well, absolutely not, because I'm actually British.
I didn't realize that, Bill.
The American guy, I think it's so cool. I don't know. I think it's awesome to even, again, it's such an identity of the UK that, to be welcomed into that world. It's such a gift. Are you kidding me?
Sorry.
Go ahead. Sorry, no.
No, you. No.
No, you, buddy.
Come on, Billy.
I'm gonna tickle you. Tickle you.
It's funny, like, in some ways, the nationality and all that stuff and is just a construct. It's really about the individuals. And I say that because I have had more, the CIA has its history. It's a complicated thing. I have had more people come up to me of different nationalities who dig Felix, who are like, but I think there's something at the end of the day just about their individual kind of ethos and their individual the characteristics that they represent are beyond the specifics, and there's something about the humanity of these characters that people respond to, and I think that's what they see in each other. It's not about all the other things. It's about who they are as individuals, who they are as men.
What was the most surprising thing about directing a James Bond film that you didn't think would happen before you signed on?
I think probably one of the most surprising things, and it shouldn't have been surprising, but it was surprising, was the level of care and passion the crew had for what they're doing. And what I mean by that is, like, you would expect on a sort of a larger budget Hollywood movie that everyone has to work at above and beyond, but that's not often the case, or not always the case. And in this one, it's like you would get people like say our props guys, who are the props in the Bond films are incredibly important. To have them come with these pitches and these graphics and this whole thing, and you're just like looking at this, this is like so cool. They're designing all these amazing gadgets, and they go off and do it. There's a schedule, but then at the same time, there'll be days where it's like we're like in a lab scene, and I'm like, oh, this doesn't quite make sense. Where the Violet goes, can you make something where it slides and does this and that? And literally within like 4 hours, they come back with this thing they just built, and I'm like, how did you just build this?
Yeah.
And they just did it, and it's like you're like, oh wow, like I'm on a Bond film and these guys are going back to their little L's workshop and coming back with some magic.
I mean, just everybody just loves this whole history of this franchise, and you could tell with this movie that everybody brought their A game. I've been lucky enough to see the movie. I loved it. I adored it. I think Bond fans are going to love it, and I think you're going to get a lot of those fans campaigning for you maybe to come back. There's a precedent, right? Martin Campbell did GoldenEye, then Casino Royale, bringing in another era again. Is it too early? Have you thought at all about, like, would you ever want to try this again, come back in the future?
I've been asked that question, and I think my answer so far has been like, I don't know. I've never done anything twice, in terms of like genre or style, subject matter. I really loved working on this film. I thought, working with Barbara Broccoli and Michael G. Wilson and Greg Wilson and Daniel and the whole family was a pretty amazing experience, especially working with, so much legacy there and just feeling so included in that process. But it also is a very, very, very difficult thing to do. I mean, it really does take your all, and I have disappeared, for 20 months, and then COVID hit, and then I've disappeared again in a year and a half. So it's just like, at some point, I feel like I'm just re-emerging into the world. So it's hard to say like, yeah, I'm ready to do that again.
For sure. But welcome back to the world. Welcome back. With everybody you just mentioned, all those amazing collaborators, like, do you feel that because everybody knew this was Daniel Craig's last outing, that you guys had maybe even a freedom to do stuff that you normally wouldn't have done on a Bond film, you think?
I think, it's a mixture. I think, from the very first meetings I had with the producers, they were very clear about what they wanted and the tone, and with meeting with Daniel as well, trying to get a sense of where he wanted the character to be when we found him. It had been at that point, or we knew at that point, it had been 5 years since Spectre by the time the movie came out, now 6. There was a very clear sense of like the import of what we were doing for the franchise and what it meant for Daniel's tenure to close it off in a respectful but hopefully exciting and fresh way. Once we got into the nitty-gritty of story, these aren't producers that just go away and do the budget and talk to the money people. These are all very, very involved producers. And yet at the same time, if you made a pitch that they believed in, they would just let you go and write that, and then come back and present it. And of course, there's always notes. There's always these conversations. We'd sit around this round table in Michael's office. It felt like it was like some Napoleonic era, campaign table, and we'd be there for hours, just like really, really talking about the logic of things and why a character would do this and how does this connect to this and how will this keep ramping up the story. And I remember Barbara, just saying it's hard. And I was like, yeah, this is a lot harder than you think a tentpole film these days, a lot of people, especially, moviegoers, can think you can just plug and play these things. And that's just not the case.
Absolutely. Well, everybody did a phenomenal job. I can't wait for everybody around the world to get to see it. Thank you for talking to me today, sir. I really, really appreciate it. Have a great rest of your day.
All right. Thank you. You too.